Welcome to the Explainer. So, 19 years have passed since the Battle of Hogwarts, and you'd think the wizarding world would be totally at peace. Well, not quite. For the son of Harry Potter, a whole new kind of battle is just brewing. Today, we are diving deep into the explosive first act of The Cursed Child. So, that really is the central question of this whole story, isn't it? What happens when the son of the world's biggest hero feels like a complete and total failure? This first act is all about the crushing weight of living in that kind of shadow. All right, let's set the scene. We're starting 19 years after the end of the war, right back on platform 9 3/4. And a very anxious young Albus Potter is about to head off to Hogwarts for the first time. Now, just so we're all on the same page, this story actually comes from a two-part stage play, and it literally picks up right where the epilogue of the final book left off, focusing on the kids of our original heroes that we got a quick glimpse of. You've got to understand, for Albus, this is his absolute biggest fear. It's not just about house rivalry. For him, being sorted into Slytherin would be the final, undeniable proof that he's nothing like his famous dad, that he just doesn't belong. So Harry, seeing how scared his son is, he does something pretty huge. He tells him a secret he has never told anyone before. The Sorting Hat actually considered putting him in Slytherin too. It's this really vulnerable moment where he's trying to show Albus that it's our choices that define us, not our destiny. Okay, on to our next part, the Slytherin Potter. Because once Albus gets on that train, his whole world is about to change, and it all starts with one very, very important friendship. So on the Hogwarts Express, his cousin Rose is all about strategy. She's telling him they need to pick the right friends, for popularity's sake. But then Scorpius Malfoy walks in, and Rose is quick to drop that awful rumor going around that Scorpius is secretly Voldemort's son. But Albus, he ignores her completely and decides to stay with Scorpius. And that's it. That's the beginning of everything. And then it happens. His worst fear comes true. The Sorting Hat yells out, "Slytherin!" And the script describes it as a perfect, profound silence that just falls over the entire Great Hall. I mean, can you imagine? Harry Potter's kid, a Slytherin. His life as an outcast has officially begun. And his time at Hogwarts is, well, it's just rough. It is the polar opposite of his cousin Rose's experience. She's a star Quidditch player, great at classes. Albus, meanwhile, can barely get his broom to lift off the ground. He ends up with his absolutely cruel nickname, the Slytherin Squib. It's like a double insult. He's in the wrong house and he's magically useless. And as the years go on, it doesn't get better. That gap between him and his dad just gets wider and wider. By second year, he's literally begging Harry to stand away from him at the station. By year 3, he's so angry he just incinerates his Hogsmeade permission slip with magic right in front of Harry's face. Which brings us to our third part, a father's cruel words. Because right before Albus is set to start his 4th year, all that simmering tension finally, and I mean finally, boils over. Harry tries, he really does. He makes this last-ditch effort to connect with Albus by giving him his old baby blanket, the only thing he has left from his mother, Lily. But to Albus, it's not a precious gift. It's just one more story about his dad's famous, tragic past. And he rejects it. And Albus, feeling totally cornered and just pushed to the absolute brink, he says the one thing he knows will hurt his father more than anything else in the world. And Harry, he just snaps. He fires back with the cruelest thing a father could possibly say. And in that one moment, he confirms every single fear Albus has ever had about himself. He confirms that, yes, he is a disappointment. And their relationship, it just completely shatters. So let's move on to our next section, the quest to save Cedric. Because while all this family drama is going down, a couple of other things are happening that are about to become incredibly important. Okay, so remember Time Turners? The Ministry of Magic, which is now run by Hermione, by the way, just confiscated an illegal one. But this one's different. It's not your standard go back a few hours model. No, this one is super powerful. It can travel years into the past. Now get this. Albus is hiding on the stairs at home when he overhears Amos Diggory, that's Cedric's dad, and he is begging Harry to use the time turner to go back and save his son. But Harry refuses. He even lies and says they don't have one because he knows just how dangerous meddling with time can be. Albus hears this, and all he can think is that his father is a cold, heartless liar. So he decides this is his chance. This is how he'll prove he's not a failure. He's going to right one of his father's biggest wrongs. And he hatches this incredibly reckless plan, convincing Scorpius to join him. And that takes us to our final section for today, escape from the Express. The boys decide to put their plan into action, but getting off a magical moving train turns out to be way more complicated than they thought. So they manage to get onto the roof of the train, and who confronts them but the sweet old witch with the candy trolley? Except she's not so sweet. Her hands suddenly transform into these terrifyingly sharp spikes, and she basically informs them that she is the train's guardian, and no one gets off early. With no other way out, and with her pumpkin pasties literally exploding like grenades, Albus and Scorpius cast a quick cushioning charm, and they jump. They leap from the train off a massive viaduct and into the water below. Their mission to change the past has officially begun. And that is where Act 1 leaves us. They've made their choice, they've taken the leap. Literally. But messing with time is one of the most dangerous things a wizard can possibly do. They think they're fixing one little mistake from the past, but what they're about to do is unravel history itself, with consequences that are bigger and darker than they could ever imagine.